And we're almost done with the presentations for day 2 of the 10 years event of the Squirrly company. And we're just like trying to coffee up again and see what we can still do today. So let's see, how do you SEO a really big site? So let's say, for example, that you have 3,000 products, or that you have, um, I don't know, let's say that you have a 3,000 products website where you also have category pages, and then you also have, and then let's say half the audience that watches this presentation right now has a media site where they keep churning out content on day and night, and they just keep posting tons of content out there and hoping to get ranked, indexed, and to get organic traffic. Now, how do you think that can be done? And what do you think people like that think when seeing something like this? I will let this on the screen for a while. Right? So what do you do here? Well, if you are supposed to create great content on every single article that you just publish as a media site that makes no sense, when one day you're saying that Max Verstappen is the best in the world, and the other day you're saying that he's not the best in the world, and you don't really know what you're talking about, and that's basically the media these days, but you still want to get ranked, what what are you going to do? Well, there are tons of ways in which you can use this same strategy to get tons of traffic for a media site, and even to get new readers that you've never had before. And I keep trying to tell this to people, but they instantly zoom out because they are afraid of actually putting in the work and doing something that's relevant, and churning out content is just a much easier way to go. And then, talking about e-commerce, well, you know that I followed this method, and you can see that we still have rankings for some of these pages, which really doesn't really make sense because everything in the store has been sold out for, I think, 1 or 2 years now. You can check more in my presentation on using Squirrly SEO for websites that are not built on WordPress, so aren't built on WordPress, and you can check that out. And you will see that we've basically managed to get lots of rankings and lots of good keywords. And while this store was active, it was selling, it was making hundreds of sales. So, how do you go from there to what people say when they start being afraid of this? And here is the answer in this video. If you're just starting out, if your SEO is basically nothing, if you didn't ever have anybody in your e-commerce team or anybody in your media team handling SEO, if they just did some optimized content, or you purchased optimized content from writers, that basically doesn't mean a thing, because most of the times when you do that, the content will be optimized for poorly chosen keywords that make no sense, keywords that don't have any strategy, that don't show any strategy, keywords for which there is no built-in SEO context for the page. So your thing, right here at the top, the content itself is just BS, and nobody will ever like it. So it's bad content, and it will never be search relevant. So that's why it doesn't work on SEO. And then, most probably because you're just churning things out, this thing is also not made. And this is something of some of the maybe the first thing that we can actually fix. And then you ensure no distribution to the media articles, because you don't do anything with the media that you publish. You just hope for the best and hope that people will browse and click around, and hopefully something good will happen for you. And that's not the way to go with churning the media articles, and that's not the way to go with e-commerce either, because at the same time, people doing e-commerce, as you will also hear on the Marketing Education Cloud podcast, they just focus on copying the content, so the written words, they just copy these from the providers. And that's all they do for their SEO. If you take a look online right now at different stores on the web, you will see what I mean, because they basically have a copy pasted description from their provider. something about what materials were used, something about sizes, and that's basically all you're gonna find on their sites. That's incredibly poor content, and it's also duplicate content, so all of these things are bad. And they don't even place a YouTube video, so there are tons of YouTube videos, even unboxing videos, and they don't even place that inside of their content. Like, I see stores for PC games or Xbox games, and they don't even bother to go and watch a YouTube video and then embed that YouTube video inside the content so that it would have some relevant media file for the users who come and browse the products in their store. So it's very poor, very, very poor, and you can't get great SEO unless you start doing something about this. But as I said, a lot of people are afraid to start with this because they perceive threats. Now let's talk about a threat, huh? The perceived threat is it's too hard, I don't have time, I will have to work manually on each of the 3,000 pages. And that's why most of them fail and why they quit SEO and why they think that SEO doesn't work, which is completely ridiculous since Mashable in the past they had all their traffic coming in from search engines. Most of their traffic was coming in from search engines, and then some of the traffic was coming from social media, but they never had more social media traffic than they had search engine traffic. Now the same is for TechCrunch. A lot of their traffic comes from SEO, and some of the cool stuff that they've done was to ensure that at least the packaging is right. So the packaging for the content was actually right. So if I were to choose between a media site and a store like the 1 Gig Shop, the first thing that I would do would be to go and to actually fix the settings of the website. So I would ensure, for example, if you're using Squirrly SEO and you're thinking, how can I fix my e-commerce site? I would go and I would start doing some settings. Right, let's go to configurations. Of course, I would go, I mean, if we really want to do this and you don't want to go through the process of using this, so you really want more much faster, then you should get it, just go and hit SEO expert right here, so you have everything. Now you can choose your blogging frequency. Make sure you don't do something ridiculous like this or this, because Google will figure out that you aren't posting as often as you mentioned that you do, and it's not going to be well for you. Then of course, if you're a media site, check out Google News and also look at the article here, which tells you what you need to do to get on Google News. Right, now your sitemap is made for Google News, and with Squirrly SEO Picks we've made lots of improvements on the Google News front. Right, we don't need attachments, so if I were a media site, most media sites, they have lots of tags and their authors use tags, but they don't really know what they're doing. So I've seen media sites who are actually very intentional about the tags they use, and that helps them become amazingly successful with SEO. So you have to think for yourself, are your tags actually helping anybody, and are they gonna do something great for you in search engines? If you're uncertain, it's just best to do this. You don't need archive pages on the search engine. Products, if you have an e-commerce store, you need to look at what you need to include. So you have to go through all of this, through all of these settings. Yeah, I don't want to save that because I'm not trying to destroy the site. Right, so you can go here, you can make sure the settings are made, and then also go to social media. This is one of the first things that I would do. So for example, even if I'm an e-commerce or really big site with like a media site, as I said, I would go and I would make sure that I choose an image. I know, let's use this image for example. And now when articles are gonna get shared from chief content, even if some of our writers they forget to place any kind of image in the post, or they forget to do the open graph settings, which are for LinkedIn and Facebook, if they forget to do this, and they don't even check the previews for social media, then at least Squirrly is gonna place the default image, and your content when it's shared, it's still gonna look good. So this is one of the other settings that I would do. Then in Twitter card, I would do the same for Twitter card. And for the rest of the things, what I would do is exactly what I've shown you during the 10 years event of Squirrly with the automate your SEO. So that's definitely the next thing that I would do after what I've shown you here in the video. And I would automate my SEO. I would make sure that regardless of how the WordPress site is built, I take all of those custom post types, I place them into the automation, and then I make sure that everything is automated through Squirrly so that you won't have any errors. Now also if you have tons of plugins doing the same thing, so if you have other plugins for Facebook and Twitter, remove those. If you have plugins for JSON-LD, schema rich snippets, remove those. Make sure everything is made with Squirrly. And that's the first thing that you do. So you're basically trying to set up the site for success. And then after you've done all of these things, and as I said, do the automations as well, you should go to the SEO audit. And then at the SEO audit, you should go and you should try to see more. So for example, in Chief Contents Audit, which is also a big site, but we've only placed 18 pages, so you see it's only 18 pages and I've already found Biggie. So I could see from here that the off page is good, but the on page is nowhere to be found. So usually that means that there's a score of 1 somewhere. So if you get a score of 1 from the audit inside Squirrely SEO, it means that some of your pages has a huge problem, and that's why we give you a 1, so that you open up the audit and you investigate, because it most likely means that one of your pages cannot get indexed, and if it cannot get indexed, then there's a problem. So if you're looking at this, you should go and check out the latest audit. And now if you want to do it all and you want to SEO tons of pages all at once, you should just go along with the suggestions and wait for it. The best part, how can we fix anything? And you learn all about it. You learn tons of ideas on what you can do, and you even receive pro tips at everything that you see inside the audit. So start by doing all of these things that are written inside the audit and reach a score that is over 80. Now we've done a pretty cool research project internally. We have data from 600,000 websites. But it's hard to filter through all of that data and identify who are exactly the biggest in terms of everything that they have inside the website, so that we can reach a top 100. So what we did was we've made our own top 100 based on things from my team, based on Alexa. We used Alexa when it was still alive and kicking. And then from our audience, we looked at members of our audience, which are the biggest influencers, the biggest media sites, the biggest online shops, and things that they follow. And we've made this really big research. We identified the top 100, and those top 100 were basically some of the most popular things on the web, especially for our audience, because we want to make something that's relevant for our audience, not for everybody else in the universe. Maybe some people want to go to Justin Bieber's website. I don't know why would they do that, but still, that's not what we do here at Squirrly. So we've looked at some pretty cool and amazing and serious stuff. So we've done a top 100, and then in that top 100, we looked at different issues that they had in the site. So we found out who were doing SEO, who weren't doing SEO, who had the best SEO on all of their pages, who were trying to focus on just a few pages on their site. And it was very interesting to see that regardless of where we looked, all of those who were in top 100 and they were also getting traffic from SEO, all of them had a score that was over 80. So we are absolutely right in what we say in the audit score. Now, we knew this from way back. We keep um, changing some ideas. We keep looking for more. We keep doing research, but it's always been like this. So with a score that's below 50, you stand no real chance of ranking on Google. And that's just as easy as it is. Then if you start having a score of 50, 55 or 60, it's still it might hit, you know. I mean, if you follow along with focus pages and the next SEO goals, I've presented them earlier, especially in the new Squirrly SEO picks, then you're definitely gonna have some success. But if you want all of the pages in a 3000 pages website, then this is what you need to focus on. So you should start by looking at placing everything that you have, placing it right here. Okay, place all the pages that you have and see what score you get. And if your score is below 80, that's the next thing that you should focus on. And actually, you can even start with the audit because it has an SEO section. So if you have big technical SEO problems, you're still gonna find out everything about them. So you're going to know exactly what's wrong with the website. And then if you focus on working solely with the audit, it's something that's very simple and something that affects all your pages. So if you start working on these things, all the great SEO that you will win for every single page on your site. So if you're not looking to go one by one as we suggest, and I've offered you some pretty intelligent reasons for doing that inside my Set SEO into Motion presentation, but if you still don't want to do that and you still want to, I don't know, hope for the best and just hope that something great will happen, then that's the best way to start. And that's basically, if I were to start 1 Gig Shop right now and make products available in it again and do all of that stuff, the first thing that I would start with is an audit. So I would definitely go do an audit and try to make all of those scores to make them great again. And after I make the scores great, that's when you start doing all of this stuff that I mentioned here and the rest that I mentioned inside the Set SEO into Motion. I would still use that. Now there are lots of reasons. You saw that on Ruby merchandise we still outrank a lot of people, and at one point we've outranked the company Rooster Teeth that was making the products and that has made the anime, and we've outranked them because we've used focus pages. So we've created the focus pages method, and as I said, we were doing the focus pages method. We were creating all the strategies and all the ideas behind it, and we were using the 1 Gig Shop to prove our point. And you can see that the 1 Gig Shop is still well ranked. So we have used the focus page for a huge site that had 1,000 products in it, e-commerce products, and it's made in Shopify. And we have used the focus pages method. It's just that we ran the calculations ourselves instead of relying on Squirrly SEO to do everything for us. But that's what we did, and you can still use that. So if you're afraid of starting with what I've shown you in my videos, and you're afraid of starting with focus pages and with the next SEO goals because you feel threatened by this, then you should definitely go to the audit, try to raise your score to 80, and then come and join the presentation with SEO into Motion and do everything that I've told you here, and then all of the website will rank very, very well. Because what you're doing, you're creating the underlying thing for the whole website is going to be great. Your marketing is going to be great because the audit from Squirrely is not just an SEO audit. It looks at all of your marketing. So once you start hitting those points and you have that marketing in place, then everything that you do from then on is going to be great. And that's when you can start building momentum. And then once you have that, you can start coming here and to set SEO into motion, do what I've shown you on this presentation, and then you will make everything move for the media site or for the e-commerce store. And then it's going to be much easier whenever you churn out new content. It's going to be ranked better. Then whenever you create new products, you will need to change a couple of things, but when you create new products, at least you will create them properly, and then those new products will definitely get indexed much better than the other ones. And we could see this in the top 100 websites as well, because on the pages that ranked the most, the optimization levels of the page were through the roof. And even though they got traffic to some of their other pages, it was very clear that those were churned out just like that. And they didn't really care about the SEO of those pages, but they spent quite a lot of time on the SEO of the pages that were actually ranking very well. So that's something to keep in mind, definitely. Alright, so this has been it for the presentation, and that's a solid way to start if you're in one of these situations, and that's how you SEO very big sites. Of course, there's something else that I could show you. You could go for something like this, especially if you have a big site, and then you can go to Google rankings, and you could try to identify, see and add the exact keywords that drive people to your site. Now, this is also a phenomenal idea. Go into this, find out all the things that currently quite work for you. Start making content for these keywords, because what I'm showing you here is exactly what I've told you in my presentation on Google and setting your SEO into motion, because you basically start proving. So Google thinks that it should rank you for these things. That's why they are here, and these metrics are very low, but they still think that you would be a good bet for these keywords. And then you need to start proving that Google is right. So you could take these keywords, add them to Rank Checker, which also adds them to Briefcase, and then start optimizing with the SEO Live Assistant. Make sure you have amazing snippets made with the bulk SEO or the front end editor of Squirrly SEO. Make sure that you have amazing content. So for these pages that you create on these keywords, make sure that you at least do this part with SEO Live Assistant and this part with bulk SEO. And even though you don't focus on all the things from focus pages for each of them, at least do what I've told you and bring traffic. Definitely bring traffic. So do what I've shown to you in the SEO into motion thing. Build some traffic for these pages and build inner links. At least build inner links, even if you don't go full focus pages method, at least build some inner links for them, and you will see that Google will automatically rank you for these ones. And once it starts ranking you for these ones and you keep receiving constant traffic, it will start ranking you for newer keywords. You can come back here after 3 months and select a new list of keywords, make pages, especially if you're used to churning out a lot of content, make new pages, try to rank them as well, and keep the wheel spinning, and your SEO will go places. Okay, so I hope that this makes sense. I hope you've enjoyed the presentation. You can also always, especially if you have a huge site, then something like the rank tracker is gonna be perfect for you, because you will want to know how your entire portfolio of keywords is doing, how it's going up and down, because if many of these are going down, then it may mean that you were affected by a penalty or that something went wrong site-wide, and that's something that you can do. So thanks for watching the presentation, and we've still got quite a few left, so thanks for joining day 2 of our 10 years anniversary.